Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contiengecy Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Everybody get ready. This is the All OBJ Podcast.
Oh, that's all we can do.
Copyright free.
Copyright.
Oh, man. Cleveland rocks once again. This is an all Star Wars podcast. By the way, we are actually doing a reread of the new Jedi Order. The new Jedi Order series of books. We are in Dark Tide 1 Onslaught. However, little Jedi Council here.
We got
OBJ. So there's something.
That's one good thing to talk about.
Well, I've been...
That was a couple weeks ago, but still,
I've been a long-suffering Cleveland Browns fan since, really since they came back in 99, because, there was a lull there. And I kind of remember Dad, saying, so we have a team again. And that was back when he actually was kind of a little bit more into football.
Yeah, I think the Browns kind of ruined him.
It's been tough. There's only been 2 winning seasons in as many years, and only 1 playoff appearance, in which it was a wild card game that we lost to the Steelers in an absolute shootout.
That was terrible.
No, it was a good game. It was like really.
I think didn't we fall apart at the end?
No, it was pretty much a shootout. It was like one of the highest scoring, wild card games or whatever, and. Kelly Holcomb was the quarterback of the Browns, and I want to say Tommy Maddox might have been the Steelers quarterback, and they combined for the most ever throwing, passing yards in a game or whatever.
We're not talking about Star Wars.
Well, I don't care because I care about Cleveland sports, and there's been a lot in the news media about distractions or whatever, but the team is looking really good, and for any of you who follow sports and maybe follow, a team that isn't very good or hasn't been very good.
If you're a loyal fan.
Well, yeah, and I'm not a bandwagon fan. I don't, we're from Ohio, obviously. We've said that.
We are not from Cleveland.
No, but, at the same token, I don't root for Cincinnati. I had a fascination with Donovan McNabb when he was a quarterback of the Eagles, so I might have had an Eagles jersey, but it was because of Donovan McNabb, not the Eagles. But yeah, it's great to have a good feeling in Cleveland again, and because the Cavs have just bombed.
Yeah,
the Indians' season is almost underway, which is crazy to think. So we're in March 22nd. We're recording this, and spring training is basically over. They actually had the first game that mattered between. I know it was the Mariners, but I don't remember the other team that they played, maybe St. Louis, because Ichiro is retiring. So he came back for one game. I think he had 3 at-bats, 1 walk or whatever, but one of the prolific player, just a great player, but he obviously retired after that game. And but anyway, it's almost baseball time too, which is crazy to me, I think.
Season's gone by very quickly.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it comes earlier, but anyway, basketball season's almost over. The Cavs are basically just playing for, whatever that
Pride.
is. I don't even know about that. I think they've won 18 games this season. But yeah, no, the football season, once that gets started back up in the fall, hopefully that'll be what we expect it to be. I'll be definitely following that a lot harder than I have.
It's going to be great watching all the Browns fans do the same thing the Cavaliers did with LeBron. Put all their faith into one person.
Well, that
doesn't backfire.
Well, there's a lot more in a football team. It actually does take a team really to win, and sometimes in basketball you can get away with having a good supporting cast and one really good star player.
The Browns they've had some decent quarterbacks over the years, and it hasn't mattered.
Well, it just all depends. It depends on what you call decent. Because really, so we actually did have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. That was Trent Dilfer. Jeff Garcia came in for a spell and then wound up having a career resurrection in Tampa Bay after that. Man, oh man, I don't know. There have been so many. We've had a lot of
rest in peace, Tim Couch's career.
Yeah, but you know what? Tim Couch actually,
was-
he's come back and done some commentary. He did a lot during the preseason. People were really accepting. I think they finally realized it's like, it really wasn't Tim Couch's fault because he had some really good moments, but he didn't really have the receiving core was okay, but not fantastic. We had a lot of possession receivers and not much speed. But we also had probably one of the biggest train wrecks of a coach in Butch Davis. So anyway,
Speaking of coaches, how salty do you think the former head coach had to have felt? about
Hugh
this?
Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Bad timing.
Hugh. I remember when Hugh was being interviewed for like he was coming out. He was hot shot offensive coordinator from Cincinnati from the Bengals under Marvin Lewis, and everybody was excited. The stars were the limits for him, and all he had to do was produce. That's it. And then he would have been loved because honestly, when he came out, I was like, good move. This should be interesting. But unfortunately, what wound up happening is he had two of the worst seasons in football history. He won, I think, one game between two seasons, and went defeated. Went defeated a season, which was just the epitome of
Unheard of.
well, I mean, once or I think that would have been the second or third time in history because the Lions did it, and then I think there was one other team before them, but I don't remember who that was. But yeah, I mean, you got to think that he's feeling something because it would be hard for him to get a head coaching spot ever again after that.
I don't think he ever could, honestly.
But I feel for him. I'm in a way, and then another way. I watched Hard Knocks, and I really kind of started to dislike him a little bit because he seemed fake in the show.
I don't know. To me, when I watched it with you, he seemed way too laid back. The offensive coordinator was pretty good. He was aggressive, but the players just seemed lazy.
Well,
all of them.
Well, the thing is,
They got away with it,
I
though.
like Todd Haley, and I think that he kind of got a bad rap after the split from Pittsburgh, and he came over here, and I think that they did the right thing by just getting rid of all distractions, really, because I mean the two of them were fighting. They fought in Hard Knocks, and people were like, "Oh, that's nothing." It's like, no, there's something to this. And then here was Greg Williams sitting back there, just doing his thing, and at the end of the season, when they went for their coaching search, I was like, why don't you just keep what we have? Greg Williams, bring back Freddie as the offensive coordinator, and then let's go. However, I am really happy with what they've put together because, Freddie at head coach, it seems a little soon, but I've listened to the guy talking, and despite being severely severely from Alabama, and that's not an insult. I mean, he has a thick accent. He talks slow. But he gets his point across. I think he's a very smart individual, and he's been through a heck of a lot. I mean, the guy almost died. When he was coaching for the Arizona Cardinals, he had like a heart thing, and I watched the program that they did on it, and it was a funny story because so he's having this issue with his heart, and so they're life flighting him, and all he's thinking about is that what. It would be cool to take some pictures out of this for my kids. So he literally was like taking pictures out of the helicopter for his kids to show them the view. He had no thought about dying. It was just all about like his family. So that sort of stuff I appreciate, as corny as it might sound. But yeah, no, I think the staff looks good. But let's go ahead and let's talk about our weeks because our weeks are so much more interesting than Cleveland Browns football.
I don't know. Based on our conversation earlier, I don't think our weeks we're talking about, but we're going to anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we're still not going to talk about Star Wars for the 20 minutes.
Yeah, they'll live. This week was, God, there was just so much going on. I've been ragged out, and the weather keeps fluctuating. We had snow on Sunday, and then it warmed up a bit. Then it got cold again, and then it's
snow again today around me. What about you?
Yeah, no, we didn't get anything up here. We had pretty heavy rain maybe a day or two ago, and yeah, man. I mean, my allergies been nuts. I've just felt tired, and we're actually setting up for a backpacking trip tomorrow. So
yeah, I'm
glutton for punishment.
I have no idea if my allergies are raging because I've got a cold still. I know going backpacking in 40-degree weather with a cold. Probably not smart, but I'm excited. First fun thing I've done in a few weeks. So
well, it's the first trip of the season for us, so we're excited to get. I mean, I've got new gear that I want to try out. You've got some new gear that you want to try out. So yeah, it should be kind of fun, and we're going to a new place.
Yeah,
it's a place we haven't hiked before.
Pretty massive trail compared to what we're used to.
Well,
we're averaging around 2-3 mile.
Well, I mean, I've been on some longer ones, but yeah, I mean, the ones that you've been on with me, yeah, we've kind of kept it easy because a lot of those times we just needed like an easy, kind of an easy hike in, set up camp, go hiking, and just without the packs and everything.
Yeah.
This is going to be a little bit more formal trip, so it's been a little bit for me, but I don't know. I think the longest we've gone is when you've come is just a few miles in. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. And that was probably when we went off on our own and hit that massive hill. And I think that was about 2-3 miles.
Yeah, that was fun. But anyway, yeah. So this should be interesting, just to get you out there, and then obviously I'm looking forward to getting back into it. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's
probably the last weekend for a while for me. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, you're definitely you got work to do, and I'm just planning at least a trip a month just to get out. So even if I have to do solos, I don't really mind. Just want to get out and do more than I have in the past couple of years.
You could end up being ultra minimalist, have a little hammock for your solo trips.
To be honest, I always thought what would be cool is just having one of those tiny houses. Like getting just a big tract of land and just like a tiny house. You've seen the shows, foldable everything, and
one that you have to hike to get to.
Sure, why not? Like 200 square foot total.
Mm-hmm.
I could live. I mean, not with children or anything. Yeah. But like that would be kind of cool.
Solo, it would be easy to live off that, and
yeah, for sure.
Just completely off the grid, do some solar panels, and
a lot of them are set up solar. Yeah. So anyway, let's pop out of that and let's go ahead and go over into our HoloNet. I think you had a story, I had a story. So
you want to do yours first or me?
Go ahead. You can go. You got yours pulled up. So
we're going to talk about Game of Thrones
coming up in April.
Yep.
We'll see if the Mother of Dragons and the King of the North
have a baby.
Have whatever Azor Ahai together, and they can just conquer the 7 kingdoms on the backs of dragons with Tyrion, behind him.
So is the baby just gonna be born dead, and like a little dragon's gonna pop out after and be his little companion? Is that how it's gonna work?
No, I think it should just be a child, but you never know.
I don't want to just be. It's
old
Game
Martin.
of Thrones.
He can do some weird stuff.
Art. Good old art.
Grr.
But
what do you got?
So we got Game of Thrones creators Star Wars trilogy to be set during Old Republic. Finally.
Yeah, I also and you can get into that, but did you see the article where they were talking about the casting of Revan being Keanu Reeves? Whoa!
I feel like I read something about that and thought it was fake. So is that real?
I believe. I mean, it's
so they are going to have Revan.
Listen, it's all rumors right now, but
because this article doesn't say anything about that, so there's potential of it being set around Revan.
Could be. We'll see.
Why not? Who else is it going to be?
Speculation.
Who else gets set it around? Is he even going to be canon? I mean, there are no comics or anything that have included him since Disney took over.
Well, I mean, it's just the books. I don't really know if the Old Republic books... That's a good question. I wonder if the Old Republic books are well, anyway.
Who knows? I don't think any of the comics I've seen come out.
I don't see why they wouldn't be. But anyway, so yeah, go ahead with your article. What do you got?
So Star Wars News Net has heard some intriguing claims from a source who's apparently provided proof that they're working on all...
Nope.
Not
that one.
It just jumped me up to the start of the article. Again.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah. Reloading pages.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All of Disney's Star Wars movies. It's said that this anonymous tipster was approached about working on another entry in the franchise is expected to begin filming in the fall. Apparently, the art departments are in the design phase for the project right now, while the screenplay is in the process of being finalized. Speaking of the script, this will allegedly be the Star Wars series that Game of Thrones creator David Benioff and D.B. Wise have been working on. As for the content of this upcoming trilogy, it's said that the movies will be set during the Old Republic, hundreds of years prior to the Skywalkers, so think almost Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings. I think it's more than hundreds of years.
Can't be. It's not. Star Wars meets Lord of the Rings makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's always been high tech. But
even when it's low tech, it's high tech. Come on.
Again, I'm pretty sure Old Republic was more than a couple hundred years.
So let's just talk Old Republic. How cool would it be to see Old Republic movies? I think it'd be awesome.
I'm in love with it.
I mean, think about it. You could go into the actual species of Sith.
Yeah.
Not
The
just
Academy
Sith
and
lores,
everything.
but the species of the Sith. The old Jedi,
The Jedi.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you could do so much with that.
You really could. But all we want is Revan.
Yeah, I'd be cool. I'd be cool with a Revan movie. I mean, there are a couple of other intriguing characters. I've read a couple of the Old Republic books. Gosh, I can't even remember half the names. It's been months and months since I've read those. But
If they did a trilogy for the Old Republic, though, I would hope it'd be centered around the Sith. That's all I really care about. The Old Republic Jedi were pretty cool, but the Sith were much more memorable.
Well, I
for
mean,
me growing up, I always gravitated towards.
There's a huge villain present. I mean, the Sith Emperor.
Yeah.
So I think you could do a lot with that, and you could even time jump depending on the stories that you want to do. I also think that, although I wouldn't be interested in it, I mean, you could tie in like the Mandalorian Wars. I'm not really interested.
There's already
in
going to be a TV series on the Mandalorian, not the Wars, but still, I don't.
Yeah, I
care
know,
about
but
the
a
Mandalorians.
lot of people like that. I wouldn't want to see that, but I'd be more interested in strictly Jedi and Sith engagement. But
Yep.
oh, excuse me, it's getting late.
So with it
Donnie.
being Game of Thrones-esque and apparently Lord of Rings-esque, do you think this is going to be more like Game of Thrones, more adult-orientated? But
No, I don't really think so. I mean, I when you have people that are attached to such high-profile projects, you often try and see parallels. Mm-hmm. But Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones because George R. R. Martin made Game of Thrones. Lord of the Rings is Lord of the Rings because J.R.R. Tolkien made Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings. So it's a completely different story in fandom. So I don't really see the two meshing.
yeah,
Because I mean, Lord of the Rings is a literary work of art.
it is, and I don't really see how you can make Star Wars like that in any way, shape, or form.
Gandalf just shows up in space.
Sure.
You shall not pass.
They need that for the Yuuzhan Vong War.
Why not? So, but anyway, no, intriguing thought process. I think I would be very happy to see, Revan in a movie. Get into some of the other Darths, Darth Bane, Darth Nihilus, start to flesh out a lot of those characters cinematically.
Can we just have a John Wick, Keanu Reeves performance with Revan?
Yeah, I'll tell you, that casting, it does kind of baffle me because, I like Keanu Reeves.
I wouldn't picture him as Revan.
But he gets in phases. So first he was Bill and Ted, and then he's like Point Break, whoa. And then, he's Neo, and then now he's just John Wick. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could call that depth of acting or depth of character. I personally like him as an actor, but I just know what to expect. When I think about when I read the Revan book, because it sticks out so much to me, I don't necessarily see, I just don't see his face there.
Someone I could picture.
Sean
as-
Bean.
Yes, Sean Bean, because I want him to die 5 minutes in.
Well, listen. We'll talk about that book later, but still, Sean Bean would be great because Sean Bean's one of my favorite actors. I could go down my favorite actor list.
How does that feel, knowing that one of your favorite actors dies in everything he's in?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's cool. He's memorable. I mean, people know him. He evokes emotion. So
There's one person I could kind of see as older Revan, not younger. It wouldn't work, but not the most well-known actor. But let's see if you recognize him. I'm gonna butcher his name.
Yeah,
in this, but.
well, he was in Rogue One, and he was also in the James Bond movie. It was Casino Royale, right?
Mhm. Yeah, he was a villain in Casino Royale.
Yeah,
but,
he was Jen's dad. In, Rogue One.
Mads Mikkelsen, which
Sure, sounds good.
close enough. But he's been I wouldn't say a high-profile actor. He had some decent roles.
He plays a lot of villains.
He's about to be main character in a Kashima game, which was the guy who did the Metal Gear Solid series. He got fired or whatever, and
No.
but he's starting his own little game, and he's actually in the game. His character, everything, kind of like with Kevin Spacey in that Call of Duty game.
We don't need to talk about Kevin Spacey anymore.
True. Yeah.
Ew.
Back when we liked it. But I could see him being old Revan. Just worn down, tired Revan. Not able to remember anything.
As far as what I see him in, is I kind of see him as sort of like that haggard kind of, heroish guy, or like a really nice, dispassionate supervillain. It's kind of weird that
kind of like
the
Dryden
dichotomy
Voss.
between the
Like he could have been Dryden Voss if we didn't have who. We had.
Paul Bettany is another one of my favorite actors, and I'm usually delighted to see him in movies. I just rewatched Master and Commander because I bought a couple of the audiobooks, the old Patrick O'Brien, Jack Aubrey series of books. I love listening to that stuff. Most people can't keep up with it because it's so nautical. Not that I understand everything nautical, but I love those books. But anyway, yeah, I love Paul Bettany, and people kind of give him crap
For what?
I've never really dug into that, but I know that he's. I think
a specific role.
No, I think at times he's just had trouble. It seems like he's had trouble finding work. Like high profile work, but like he
what
did.
If he's difficult to work with?
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, he did the Master and Commander. He was the voice of Jarvis, and then Vision in the Avenger movies. Mm-hmm. He did that Da Vinci Code. He was the monk.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the crazy monkey, A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe, if I'm remembering that correctly. He was like his imaginary friend. And then obviously now is in the Star Wars universe is Dryden Voss. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's not a bad pull.
Could you cast a young Revan? If it were you, I mean, who would you pick? Because I think that's the direction they're going to go. I don't think there's a more iconic Old Republic character than Revan.
I'd have to read
if he's still going to be canon.
I'd have to read the book again, to accurately make an assumption like that. It's been a while since I've read the book, so I don't know.
It's a scary thought, but I mean, they could just be using the term Old Republic, but
I don't
make
think
all
so.
new characters.
There's too much about the Old Republic. I mean, you have the games and everything. So I think in that regard, I mean, I understand the apprehension, but the problem we've had is that, they wanted to make an all new series, and they've kind of done that with all new characters, but the Old Republic's pretty well established.
I do think that would appease a lot of older fans of Star Wars.
For a minute, yeah. I mean, if they're really good and the budget's there and they tell good stories and they're coherent.
Not going to make up for Luke, but it'll be a little peace offering.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're kind of stuck in the vein of these books we're reading now, and kind of Luke being a lot more
a badass.
Well, a much larger presence out there, and it's kind of hard to let go of, years of him just being the one.
Well, and we don't have to. We still have those memories of reading all those books. We still have this. It's not like they all disappear in a year or two.
Right. Well, I mean, again, the biggest hole is that, who takes over? Is it Rey, who's never been trained, or do you have your stupid redemption arc, which I don't even want to talk about, with Kylo, and then you can have Reylo, and you can have a bunch of ridiculousness out of that.
Reylo babies.
Yeah, I don't even want to.
Honestly, if they continue the story of these characters, I probably won't care to watch another trilogy.
Well, I don't.
They
think,
serve their purpose.
I don't.
but
I think they'll cut it, and I think anything else that'll come out will be completely different. So, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and move on to one other article that I found here that I sent you during the week.
Spoiler alert, guys. We're talking this much because it's a very short chapter.
Well, yeah,
And-
he's right. The chapter is a little shorter, but I mean, you guys kind of know that the chapters in this book are paced relatively fast. So,
Although, with this chapter, we might get into a rant. So it might just be an hour and a half, guys. Just fair
that's
warning.
fine. So interesting thing. So some fans were getting a little. They call it jumped for joy in the article, which is ridiculous. About Disney seemingly reviving Lucasfilm games,
Ooh.
which a lot of fans know as LucasArts.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we know that name. The issue behind this has been the semi-disaster that has been EA in the Star Wars gaming universe. Battlefront 1 of the more recent Battlefronts was not a good game. Sorry.
No, it wasn't. It was
Bat-
pretty. Good sound. That was about it.
Battlefront 2 is a good game that basically was a pay-to-play, paywall kind of game. Now, I remember
They
a
did
time...
fix that, though. I'll give them that.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, they did for the most part. But I hearken back to when we were really playing games as kids. When you could buy, say, do you remember the old Marvel versus Capcom fighting games?
Yep.
So
Back when you didn't have to pay for characters.
well, that's the issue, is that the characters were written onto the disc, and all you had to do was unlock them. And this is actually what the new Smash Bros. Game is doing a lot of. I mean, my God, have you seen the roster on Smash?
It's ridiculous.
Holy
it's
crap.
everything.
We need to get Switches.
We do.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a similar thing. You're unlocking all this stuff, you're grinding a bit, but it's rewarding because you're getting things. But EA has done this crap for a while, and I remember, back when all I cared about EA was just sports games. And
That's where they should have.
every year
it.
you bought a new game just for a roster update. This is a little ranty, but
Except for NCAA, which had no roster because copyright.
yeah, well, it wasn't copyright. It's that you can't use the names and likenesses of kids who aren't getting paid. Well, anyway, I'm not.
We'll
gonna,
just call it copyright.
I'm not gonna get too far into that. But anyway, so I always said that just make one big epic game every 4 years, just to update your drivers and your graphics,
Yeah.
and then. So you buy that
Continuously
game for
change the
$60,
roster every
and
year.
then every year you say $9.99
Yep.
roster update.
I'd pay that.
Most people would.
I probably would continue to play sports games if I had that option.
Yeah, and I just recently bought a new Madden after, going years without Madden. And the only reason is because it was the new look Browns with Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb and everything. So I kind of almost have to get the next year's to get OBJ and that whole lineup and sell that one for $2.
Unless that's a $30 DLC just to buy him.
Oh, God. Well.
They would
anyway.
probably sell that like hotcakes.
Wars. So the whole gist is that it's looking like, it's not confirmed, but it's possible that Disney is yanking EA's license to produce Star Wars games. Because, I mean, you guys, don't clap too loud. The checks depend on it. No, I'm just kidding. So the thing is that a lot of people were pissed about Battlefront 2, and I can't really
I didn't buy it.
Well, I bought it.
That's
but,
how bad it got.
well, I can't really substantiate that because I was perfectly happy just with my heavy gunner, just going around and not playing very well because I'm not. It's like I don't really play those games enough to really. But jumping on every couple days and be like heavy gunner, and just having fun. I just had fun with the game. I didn't care about unlocking Boba Fett and his epic skin.
Yeah.
I don't care about that crap. But they also had loot crates. And loot crates have been...
They're garbage.
They've been kind of controversial.
It's gambling, essentially.
Well, sort of. But I mean, if you pay for them.
Right.
But I never paid for them. You got like a daily loot crate, and then every now and again they throw you, here's a loot crate, kid, have fun. I don't think I ever got... I think I did unlock a character in a loot crate, a free loot crate, which was cool, but I'd never pay for that crap because I don't care. But a lot of people do that so that they can get the newest and coolest stuff, which is pay to play, which should not be there because essentially all this stuff is usually written into the game disc.
Yeah, and they actually... someone took the time to look up how much it would cost to own the entire game, and it was thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you could grind for a lot of that stuff, but I mean, the grind in comparison to how much money you could spend was just astronomically different. So do I think it's a good idea? At this point, yes. Yes, I do. Battlefront 2 is a beautiful game. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it, and they put some more patches and new maps in there. Of course, if that's true, the support for that's going to be like done, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I miss the days when games were like they used to be. Yeah, full games in disc. You just had to do a little grinding in order to get some epic loot.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I actually posted something on our Facebook page. Plug.
Do we want to go through that?
Ago.
Hey, let's do cheap plugs before you say anything. So,
Sure.
No, we are on Facebook, guys. If you want to, converse with us, send us, whatever your Star Wars story, or just want to leave a comment on the podcast, or want to have something said on the podcast within reason. Send us a message on Facebook. We're just a Contingency Plan Podcast on Facebook. You can also send us an email at tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon page if you're interested in supporting your channel here. Your podcast, sorry. I also do YouTube. We're not going to plug that today. But anyway, no, I'm good. But yeah, I mean, if you want to support the podcast, you can head on over to Patreon. Again, the links are in the show notes as well. But we have our Dinner with the Patron series over there. It's just a fun little series where we eat food with you, talk about random conversations, and just have a little bit of fun. It's a little extra content for you. And plugs over. Do I need to plug anything else? Am I good?
Back to Facebook posts.
Okay, back to Facebook posts. Go!
It's ironic you mentioned that on this episode. I just posted something, and I'm not sure the year's correct on all of these.
Okay.
But posted basically 2005.
Oh, yeah.
The year Star Wars peaked.
Yeah.
So we've got the release of Episode 3. We've got Republic Commandos.
Yep.
Which was amazing. Knights of the Old Republic 2.
One of my favorites, yep.
For the kids, but it got them back into Star Wars, Lego Star Wars.
Which tripped
the first Lego Star Wars was
Me
amazing.
out.
I played
2005 is when that dropped. I didn't think it was that long ago.
See, that's why I say I'm not so sure this is all accurate, because this is 4 major games
listen
and
here,
a movie in the
Darth.
same year.
Internet memes
They're
are
all
always
true.
they're always correct.
But Battlefront 2 as well.
Really?
So
2005.
you got Battlefront 2, Knights of the Old Republic 2, Lego Star Wars, best Lego game ever, and Republic Commando.
I remember
anyone can prove me wrong. I'm not going to take the time to Google it, but yeah.
Fight me,
Let
bro.
me know. I want to know. But those were the best Star Wars games.
I remember watching you play Battlefront 2 a ton.
I played the crap
you
out
did.
of that game.
You play that
It's
a lot.
ridiculous how many hours I sunk into that. That was my favorite Star Wars game.
It was a great game.
And when you think of movie tie-in games, they're usually garbage. Just kind of like, movie adaptations of games being garbage.
Yeah.
It's usually
Doom.
the same. Mortal Kombat, even though it was amazing garbage.
Listen, I love the Mortal Kombat
the Mario
movies. You know what? I actually like that too, and I don't
but
care.
it was garbage, let's be honest.
You know what? I
Tomb
enjoyed
Raider.
it. Angelina Jolie back when she was hot. No, I'm just kidding. She's still pretty. She's still pretty
Was
hot.
Blade a movie adaptation?
Comic book.
Well, I know, but which came first, the movie or the game?
Movie first.
Was
Yeah.
it the movie? Okay.
Yeah, I had the Blade game on PlayStation.
Did you hear that they're bringing that back?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we did on the podcast.
Dun,
but
dun, 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 dun,
I'll
dun, dun. They have to play that
listen
song.
to the crap out of it.
There has to be just a rave, and
Yeah.
Blade walks in, and it has to be Wesley Snipes, by the way. He just walks in. I think I've been here before.
Blood starts pouring from the ceiling. Showers.
Ew.
But yeah, out of all the movies that spawn terrible games, other than Spider-Man, Star Wars games are solid. There are so many good Star Wars games.
Empire at War is also one of my favorites.
I still need to try that. But
That's a great game.
But back from the old Nintendo on, there's always been a good Star Wars game. Right now, there just isn't. This console generation, we have not had a good Star Wars
like
game.
I said, I still think Battlefront 2 has a lot of good to it, but it's
just
people-
got too much baggage.
people aren't buying it for the story mode. They're buying it for the online multiplayer, which is fun, but
I'd want it for the story mode.
the story mode's okay. It's not bad. It's an interesting story. It is.
Battlefront's one of those games where I would like to go back to the old days where I was playing alone with 15 bots. I would gladly do that. I don't need to play online.
But Darth, you have to have Battle Royale.
No.
And Fortnite.
No.
I will tell you, though, have you seen playthroughs of Apex?
I play Apex
Do
every
ya?
once in a while. It's pretty good.
You know what? That actually looks kind of cool.
It's fun.
I'm still not going to play it, but it looks cool.
I forget the favorite character. What's my
Do you
favorite character?
have limited edition skins? Have you
Heck no, but I got
unlocked all the characters.
But I'm pretty good with the Wraith.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Wraith because
I've seen that.
because the Wraith just has a button. It's like, oh, I'm getting shot. Oh crap, just time freeze, and I'm just gonna walk over there and not get shot anymore.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of the abilities of some of them. Some of the like the air raids for the one soldier chick who just drops all this artillery on everything. That would be kind of crazy. But anyway, not Star Wars. So what do you think, man? You think it's about time to get in this reread?
I don't want to talk about Jason again. So no,
Jason.
we've hit our hour mark,
No, we haven't.
even though we haven't.
Get out of here.
I want to say that we did though.
We're not a reread podcast at all.
We-
Cleveland rocks. Just all we do.
Hey, careful. We're at about 9 seconds now.
I've heard a bunch of people. Well, if you only play 30 seconds of a song, it won't get copyrighted, which is a bunch of crap, by the way. Hey, man, it's good enough for Drew Carey. It's good enough for me. Okay, so here we go. We're in chapter 11. Again, relatively short chapter.
Thank God.
You just really don't like Jason. That's cool.
Do you like Jason?
Well, no, not really. Not right now. So we have Jason and Uncle Luke and R2-D2. They're heading to Belkanon. This is one of the missions. We've kind of been plowing through our missions.
Go to Dagobah, and you're going to Belkanon.
Yeah.
Luke.
Training's over. Oh, let's see here. So they go to Belkanon. They see stuff in a chapter. Okay, have a good night, guys.
Turmoil. Talk about the turmoil.
Turmoil. Well, it is getting late for me, so I don't want to try and read all this stuff. I'll be slipping up left and right. But essentially, so we kind of start having again the existential crisis of Jason Solo.
Of a 16-year-old.
Yeah. Well, he's still pretty rattled. I mean, he's rattled because the Yuuzhan Vong don't show up in the Force. And he's starting to think it's like everything I've learned to this point is not going to help me defeat this enemy. So why am I doing it? Are we doing the right thing? Is Uncle Luke completely wrong? He starts thinking again about how his parents and his uncle have sacrificed everything for the entire galaxy and they never have any time to themselves.
Yeah, because they're good people, Jason.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it is true. And I do understand from a certain point of view that it would be nice for just Luke to just be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take Mara and just go have a little vacation. And they just can't. These are important and pivotal characters within the entire makeup of our galaxy. I mean, they're in demand. They're hot. Hansel, he's so hot right now. Yeah. Just dropping popular culture references from 50 years ago.
I don't think Leia's very popular right now in the Senate.
Well, no, they're not. They're not.
She is not in high demand by anybody right now,
for sure.
except for poor old Han, who's grieving.
Yeah. So anyway, they go. They're nearing Belkanon, and an interesting thing. So we know from previous chapters that the Yuuzhan Vong Yamen Kar dispatched a biological weapon with his little beetle buddies.
Beetleborgs. He's got Beetleborgs.
I was about to say the same thing. So it basically destroyed the atmosphere, killed all the creatures, killed all the people. He killed most of the people. Some of the other people were killed by the atmosphere. It's very sad.
And Mara killed him with a blood rush.
Yep, it's very true. However, when they reach the planet, it's actually returning to normal.
It's okay, bro. It's okay.
Still a little bit more carbon dioxide, a little sulfur, but not the way it was. And Luke is like, this isn't the way I left it. What's going on? But back to Jason.
No, go back to the other part.
Well, I mean, in all seriousness, though, his thought process is going that the fact that the Yuuzhan Vong's evil, because he does think they're evil, didn't register through the Force shook Jason deeply. His life had been built on the foundation of good and evil, of light and dark. While he had never known the Emperor or Darth Vader, he had been touched by evil. Tell me on the doll where he touched you.
I thought the same thing when I read that. And they don't expand on that at all.
Yeah, that's true. But recognizing the sensation, the feeling of fiery needles being scraped over his flesh, had been a mechanism by which he had steered himself. Now, all of a sudden, just like the blast boat, which is what they're riding in,
The blast boat.
he was adrift and had no way of avoiding trouble. So he's in a way, he's kind of cracked. He's kind of cracked right now. He can't rely on, the black and white. He doesn't understand the gray. He doesn't understand that, there could be something that's not. No, he's not a great Jedi. You shut your mouth. He doesn't necessarily, have a way of coping with this right now. But he's starting to think that maybe getting away from his family, getting away from all distraction, consuming himself in the Force could somehow allow him to reach out and touch it. Because he still hasn't lost this slim hope that there is a connection.
Yeah.
It's just not necessarily immediately known to them.
Well, that was the only intriguing thing of this chapter that wasn't such self-serving bullcrap. But what do you think about that? The idea that a normal Force user from this galaxy is unable to communicate with creatures from another galaxy, but the Force might still interact with them.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Here's what I know. The Force is everywhere.
Yep.
Here's what I also know. The Force is living. The Force is its own master. You don't master the Force. The Force essentially
Binds
masters
us.
you, and it binds you to it.
Yeah.
So, what if the Force just doesn't want to be a part of these creatures? Stop using it as a crutch because you don't have your special insights into him and can't fight him the same way. But I mean, in all seriousness, though, I mean, the Force is not just like an energy field. It's much more than that. So, I think it was in Revan, the planet where the Sith Emperor came from, he basically made it devoid of the Force. So he cut it off, and it was very difficult to live in. So why couldn't the Force somehow detach itself from a race of aliens or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't believe that the Force just exists in this universe. It exists everywhere. It is the Force, okay?
And it doesn't seem like the Yuuzhan Vong would be the type
And see,
to want to interact with it.
there's the crux. They don't respect technology. They respect a living bond between creatures, but why would they need the Force? So in my opinion, it's like, well, couldn't they have just cut themselves completely off? And then you wouldn't be able to feel them because, I assume they've gone generations and generations doing it and they have no tie to it.
There have been creatures that have done that in the past. I believe Revan's wife did that at one point, didn't she?
It's been
Or
a while
someone
since I
close
read
to
it.
Revan.
Yeah, well, there was the one person who served under his command that got like
that's
too
right.
close to that bomb thing he set off,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
she cut herself off because of
Couldn't
the
handle
pain.
the pain.
Yeah, the pain that she had felt from everybody dying.
Yeah.
Go Revan. Well, maybe
Good
not.
old Revan.
Maybe not in that instance. It was kind of a bad thing to do. But anyway, back to this.
No
book.
one's perfect.
Yeah, but so here's a statement. Is it possible that the Yuuzhan Vong can be spotted in the Force if one's awareness of it is expanded? So that's the question that he has on his mind. Now,
I think that's
personally-
just his excuse to say that Luke's wrong.
Well, I mean,
That's
it's
just me, though.
I think it's a valid question. I mean, in all seriousness, because like it's new. He has a confidence about him because of the Force and because of his basically his growing up in it, his understanding, the ability to kind of flow within it, and it gives him confidence. And this is like a complete morale destroyer.
But for him to say that he has a connection to the Force that Luke could never contemplate,
yeah.
is so arrogant.
But see, and then
he might have been
that's
born in an upbringing of the Force, but that was because of Luke,
Right.
first off. And
right now. Yeah,
compare
we'll
what he's done to what Luke's done.
Yeah, we'll get to that here a little bit. Let me also just kind of run through this. And this is kind of the selflessness of his parents and his uncle. Luke had fought the Empire for 20 years, and his mother had fought even longer than that. Now think about that statement for a second, because the thing that popped into my mind was, so they're twins, right? Didn't Leia just seem so much older
Yeah.
than Luke in New Hope?
Well, think about it. Luke was just a water farmer. I mean, he didn't
Yeah.
have a real responsibilities
No,
outside of that.
it's just crazy to
do
think
whatever he wanted.
that they were
Leia
the
had to
same
grow up
age.
so
Right.
quickly.
But they're the same age, but Leia had so much more on her plate than Luke. All he wanted to do was go to Taji Station and get some power converters.
Well, look at the difference between Janna and Anakin,
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
or even Jason.
For sure. Let me go ahead and we'll go through a little bit more. His mother fought even longer than that. They constantly put their lives on the line, never having a moment that could be considered normal in their lives. If it wasn't kidnappers or assassins trying to snatch or kill them, which is what kidnappers and assassins do, they snatch or kill. Sorry, I don't
They
know.
tried to.
It was some planet's population trying to wipe some other species out. His parents and his uncle had never had time for themselves, which is kind of true. Well, Jason was trying to, avoid descending into self-pity, despite having to deal with the problems of others. What problems is he dealing with?
So many problems.
Yeah. But he does
Do
say
you just
here...
imagine him kind of just in his room meditating on the Force while listening to Linkin Park?
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, why not?
Might as well.
Well, he does kind of give his parents a little credit here. Had always done their best to nurture their children. There might have been times when official business kept his mother away, but she always managed to make up for it. Not by bringing some gift from a faraway world, but by sharing time with him and his siblings. And his father had gone from being protector to good friend to confidant. Luke had been friend and mentor, and all of them meant more to Jason than he knew he would ever be able to express, which is good. I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
Stop being a little selfish, baby. Which is why rejecting them in the way of the Jedi seemed wrong, yet so necessary. Well, Luke comes in here, and they start to essentially descend onto the planet slowly. Luke's theory is that there's something there. They feel something there. They don't know what it is, but there's something.
There is a creature.
Yeah. And he doesn't want to kind of upset the normal balance, I guess, now. So they're trying to descend pretty slow, I guess, and just kind of sneak in. Let me go through his descent here. Let me skip past that because I don't care. But you just said you read all those nautical books. You don't want to tell us about thrusters and thrusting? No, I'm good. Let's see. We're here. Just like that. We are. You recognize the sources of force out there, yes? I caught something. It didn't feel right to me. What do you think? I don't know. Sentient life forms definitely under stress, perhaps diseased. They seem worn away, frayed somehow. What I do know is that I didn't find them here weeks ago. Jason's head came up. Does Mara ever feel like that to you?
What a dick question.
Not,
I cringed a little when I read that.
Yeah, kind of. Not that, no, but Mara's strong. If it's the same disease, it might be that they're in the end phase of whatever she has, but we have no way of knowing that. And then this was kind of a weird little thing. So
The skull.
Well, no, not there yet. So Luke hands them a pair of goggles as they're going out. What are those for? Well, they have Viper staffs. So perhaps maybe you should get some goggles, kid, because we can't feel them in the Force, and maybe you might want to see them. So they get their goggles. Anyway. Let's see here. Push the red button. They go on the planet. Skipping pages. There we go. What? Let's see. When I was here last, there was a lot of sulfur in the air, but I don't smell much at all right now. Something managed to drag it out of the air. None of that was here either, which creeping green ground, they just say creeping green ground covered. He pointed to some creeping green ground cover. It's ground cover, it's too late. That had spread over much of the facility and its walls. So basically, they have some new greenery. You know, you remember that, what was that show on the History Channel where humans were gone and nature took over cities and stuff? Do you remember that crap?
Oh, yeah, where they would show what it would be like if
Yeah, I don't remember
civilization
what the show was
died
called.
off. I can't remember either, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay. And this was a little smart Alec. You were the one raised on a farm. That was a moisture farm on a desert planet. I mean, are you kidding me, man? He doesn't know about greenery. Get out of here. He was in a desert. Let's see here. So, yeah, let's get down to the little Scully thing. They did find was an R5 unit that had been decapitated, where its truncated cone head should have been set a fleshless human skull. Rainbow-colored wires came up and out through the eye sockets and mouth, and a letter having wire ribbons rolled out like a tongue. Scattered around it, like toys spilled from a broken bin, lay computer consoles, hollow projectile plates, food synthesizers, and hair dryers from a refresher station.
What do you think hair dryers look like in the Star Wars universe?
Like a hair dryer?
That'd be boring.
These items had been smashed to the point of uselessness, and the dents in the metal flesh.
Metal flesh.
That'd be a great either a great metal song or a great metal band. We are metal flesh. Think that blew out their headphones enough?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Good. That's what I wanted. Oh, let's see here. What is it? A warning, clearly. What I wonder, though, is who it's directed at. Whoever it was that you felt out there, that would be my guess. But guesses aren't what we came here for. Learning the answer. That would be tough. I just hope it's not too tough, or the answers will remain here on Belkaden. And you and I could spend eternity like this poor fellow warning others to stay away.
Ominous Luke.
Insane. So yeah, that's kind of a weird thing. So I mean, obviously there were dead people there. We know all about that. But yeah, so there's somebody out there who decided to just do this little I don't know what you want to call it, like a weird head sculpture on an R5 unit. And I mean, you just pull wires and make it look like a tongue? I mean,
They put way too much time into that warning.
yeah, so it makes you kind of think, did Roman Carr really die?
He's alive.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, because obviously they were using.
Who else would do? Why would they bring anyone else to that planet?
True, but I mean they were using it, potentially to grow coral for their ships, right?
Carl.
Yeah. So anyway, what do you think of the chapter? It was your favorite, right?
Yeah. I would
Do you like
give it a
now,
solid.
Mr. Krabs?
I would give it a solid 3 out of 10. Yeah. 1,000.
Well, again, it is Jason's existential crisis. He's trying to figure things. I get it. I mean, he's a kid. We had thoughts about that when we were young too. But at the same token, he's like,
not with a lightsaber attached to my belt.
Yeah. He's just really
grow up.
He's really shook. This whole ordeal has just shook his core, and that's a dangerous thing for a Jedi because, as we all know, fear
leads to hate,
and hate leads to
stuff.
Yeah, unhappiness, and unhappiness leads to depression, and depression leads to Paxil, and Paxil leads to a therapist, and a therapist leads to jail because you did bad stuff. Anyway, yeah, it was okay. I mean, it was okay. It was short, relatively to the point. I'm looking forward to more of the exploration, really, and getting into seeing what is on this planet and hearing Luke's report. And I imagine, as a prediction, we're going to have a fight.
I could see that happen.
We're going to have some lightsaber action, I think. Oh, I kind of passed over it, but there was the part in the chapter where, Luke grabs blasters, and he's like,
yeah,
they were able to kind of bend the blaster bolts, so we're just going to blast them and hack them and slash them and blast them again. And then Jason was like, well, you sound like Dad. And he's like, well, he says, I oftentimes think about what would your father do.
I don't do those.
I don't
things.
do it, but I think about it. So that was actually good. I'm sorry that I glossed over that, but anyway, folks, I think that's about it for today. I greatly appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure to, again, head over, like the Facebook page. You can always check out Patreon if you're want to help out the podcast at all. We just upgraded the mics, so hopefully this sounds better than what it did in our past 150,000 episodes we've done.
Hopefully you can tell how sick I am because of the clarity of this mic.
For sure. But anyway, folks, we greatly appreciate you stopping by. You guys have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.